Fields of Mistria is another one of those many cozy farming lifestyle games that have popped up over the last few years. It's inevitable that this is going to get compared to Stardew Valley, but it's been a while since I've played that, so we'll see if there's anything in particular that you notice me saying that sounds better or worse than it. So what ho chaps, I'm MagicalMike, and if you enjoy the sound of that, then leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Cheers. In the background I'll have screenshots of my farm in fall of year 2 and a quick tour of in the winter, and the rest is some daily routine gameplay. Fields of Mistria is currently in early access. For reference, in the future I have played 2 years worth of in-game time, and at the time that I did play, the latest updates give me access to gold tools through the mines, I could max villager hearts at 6, there was no dating or marriage yet in the game, and the final end game loop is kind of missing. The story only goes so far, and skills maxed out at level 45, for some context on what I'm going to be talking about. However, at the time of making this video, dating has now been added in a recent update, hearts maxed at 8, there's new characters, new festivals, skills go up to 60 along with some new perks, there's a bunch of extra events and quests and new things to collect. I just haven't played any of those things yet and won't be able to talk about them, so hey, stuff to look forward to. Immediately there's a lot I want to talk about just in listing those things, but let's go through some basics first in case you've not played a farm sim before. You get given a farm, which is naturally run down and full of junk, a set of tools to fix things up, and some starting seeds and directions. The basic loop involves you tilling the ground, planting the seeds and watering them daily. Pretty simple stuff. Over time you'll clear all the mess from the farm, cutting down trees, clearing stumps, breaking rocks and cutting all the grass to make a much nicer, tidier, totally customised area for you to do whatever you like with, usually expanding your crop fields, planting fruit trees or building areas for animal handling. You can also choose not to do much of that and instead focus on building decorations to place everywhere. There's a vast amount of little doodads and trinkets you can make, and with the huge size of the farm area, it can be pretty overwhelming to figure out a layout for how you want things to look. I ended up with a lot of straight lines and paths for me, because I like that sort of thing, but you can find all kinds of nice designs online if you check around. There is a story, which I don't want to spoil, but to begin with it's all about recovering from an earthquake that hit the town. Your role is to build the economy back up through the town rank system, help with refitting buildings and overall involve yourself in the day-to-day lives of everyone living in Mistria. As things progress, you'll get access to more places to explore, more materials to gather and use, better tools, individual storylines with each character and even some magic spells. Honestly though, maybe it's just my conservative playstyle, but I didn't get much use out of those spells because I always had other ways to deal with what they could magic up for me. I do like that they're there though. Watering the entire farm or recovering your entire stamina bar are really great spells, but growing a 3x3 crop area seems a little bit pointless to me. I quite enjoyed most of the character stories. People are generally just interesting to listen to and there's quite a variety of personalities to investigate. In particular, I was rather invested in Friday nights at the inn, where regular Dungeons & Dragons games were being held in the first year. There's a few other stories that go on too, but unfortunately I found out that these sort of dropped off entirely in year 2, which is a shame. Basic movement in the game is one of its strongest points, I think. Being able to jump is something that I didn't really think about that much, but is a massive game changer. You can swim too, which leads to being able to take a lot of shortcuts around the map, jumping into rivers and ponds, even the ocean to swim around and collect some things. Being able to jump over obstacles on the farm or rocks in the mines, or even down certain cliff edges is pretty neat feeling, but occasionally it just doesn't work, like the angle isn't quite right or something. I was never really sure about that, and that inconsistency can feel quite annoying in those moments. Luckily, basic movement is already pretty speedy, and you'll get hold of a mount much later too, so it's nice and smooth to sprint around the map. Time can feel quite limiting, but you can turn the game days to be a little bit slower so you can get more done, and you can even remove the punishment for not making it to bed before 2 AM if you so choose. I did both of these options and it helped an absolute ton. Inventory also feels super punishingly limited to start with, but it does get much easier to manage after a while. Another incredibly handy thing that Mistria does is allow crafting from remote chests. If you've got an item in a chest anywhere in the map, you don't need it on you to craft stuff with it, an amazing quality of life mechanic. As you get used to the basic game loop, farming, tending crops, watering, selling the produce, etc., you'll also be foraging all kinds of useful items from around the map. These things respawn every few days, so it'll keep you busy even when you think there's not much to do. Another thing that'll do that are the request board quests. You'll want to check these every day and pick them up any time you see them. There's no time limit on any of these things, so there's no downside to taking them all, and you'll get rewards for finishing them up, from gold to recipes to unique furniture and town reputation. Town rep will unlock further upgrades and quests to do too, so it's all tied in neatly together. Your stamina is likely going to be a huge pain point to start with. It was for me for quite a while. Everything you do costs stamina, and you don't start out with very much. Every 10 town levels will increase your maximum, and eventually you'll be able to enchant some items with a little bit more, but until that point you'll be limited on how much you can do each day. So don't overexpand your crops too early. You can get a quick boost each day by eating one bowl of soup at the inn, by finding a few special water fountains, or by doing some cooking of your own, which also happens to be a skill. The more you cook, the better you get, the more perks you'll earn access to. I didn't cook much for a long time, but do not sleep on it like I did, because you'll start being able to make tons of useful foods to boost your stamina, get regeneration, movement speed and all sorts of things, and obviously get more stuff done each day. Get really good at cooking and you'll even recoup ingredients and duplicate stuff, and you can sell dishes for even more than their base ingredient costs most of the time too. Your other skills, which you unlock XP and perks from doing, are farming, fishing, archaeology, ranching, woodcrafting, blacksmithing, mining, and combat. Farming sort of speaks for itself. I think the perks are quite basic overall, letting you sometimes get forageables to drop seed versions of them, saving you stamina on watering, sometimes getting extra seeds from that, not great stuff. And then there's getting free cooked dishes sometimes, getting free money for harvesting, and being able to do that with a sword, are all great perks. Farming is just your bread and butter skill, the sort of thing you rely on for a consistent income, and engage with every single day through watering your plants, replanting your seeds, or harvesting your grown crops. It's easy, and I enjoyed it. Fishing is quite basic too. You cast a rod in a straight line at fish shadows, and press the button to catch them when there's an exclamation mark pop up on screen. I found it just fine. Slow to level up though. Other fishing systems in other games can be more complicated or more difficult. Honestly, I think the perks are a bit boring here as well, basically just upping your chance to catch rarer stuff, and legendary fish, which are a one-time thing to collect, and the game even tells you when they're out and about, which is quite nice of it. Archaeology is pretty much just collecting a bunch of miscellaneous junk to display at the museum. Again, the perks are just there to help get more of these items. Not super creative, but hey, if you like collecting things, this one's for you. Ranching is all about caring for animals. I find this to be quite a tedious process for the most part. I like the animals in the game, and there's a lot of detail in the breeding and collecting of all the many varieties of them, but if you don't care for simply collecting new colours of ducks or alpaca or whatever, then I can see this being a bit of a dud for you. Perks again are just about speeding up care or increasing drops from them. Meh. And I find the process tedious because you have to manually pet each animal every day, and if you want to make quick progress, manually feed each one of them every day too. Else it can get quite expensive to keep giving them grass and hay in the troughs. There is actually a way to automate the petting process and watering your crops, but I find it still not quite enough since I have to manually feed them anyway. I found it extremely slow to max out the hearts of each animal, despite the diligence I kept in keeping them happy, and the overall reward for doing so felt a bit low for such a lengthy investment. It took like 2 or 3 whole seasons to get my first cows and chickens to 10 hearts, and the products don't sell for much either. But hey, I kept up with it, and after the footage in this video, expanded my ranching efforts to include 3 more rabbits, capybara, horses and sheep, along with my original cows and chickens. Woodcrafting is up next, and overall was a skill I maxed out because I wanted to wall off sections of my farm and build pathways. Eventually I built a ton of decorations with this skill, but at first it's a bit slow to level. Again, the perks are a bit uninspired, but I can't complain about them helping out with material costs and giving me more wood from chopping it. It's hard to understate just how much variety there is in the decorations you can make in this game. There's so many items, which is a great wealth of possibility for anyone creative enough to build with them. Also, it's worth mentioning here that there's tons of customization you can do with your own character and with animal accessories as well, if you're into all that. Next up is mining, because of course there's a mining system. I don't know what it is about these games that they always include a mine and it works the same way. You go down, you find the ladders, you reach checkpoints and eventually unlock new metals to build more tools with and go further with. I guess it's a proven concept and it works, it's fine. I actually spent a ton of time in the mines because it was my preferred way to make money for a long time. perks here felt actually pretty good. Sometimes you break more rocks around you, sometimes you get treasure drops, sometimes extra ore from normal rocks, you get some movement speed, enemy kills can break stuff. Overall simple, but quite effective, and you know, mining is just mining. You hit the rocks, you find the way to the next tier of metal and get your better tools, so on and so forth. Cool, I guess. But it does tie in to blacksmithing, since you can actually make your own stuff with the metal in this game. Blacksmithing was my first maxed out skill, because I made one of every single tool and every armor piece at each tier, and that was quite easy and well balanced in terms of XP rates. Again, perks here are pretty decent, allowing you to sometimes craft enchanted items, tools that return stamina on use, armor that makes you move a bit faster, though only a tiny bit faster, and it does feel kind of irrelevant. More health and stamina on your armor, more damage on your sword, again feels a bit irrelevant. It doesn't feel like it's helpful that much, but who knows. Overall though, it's pretty decent, but mostly great for earning cash, since you can sell extra tools for quite a chunk of tesserae. And the last skill we have is combat. There's only swords as weapons, and the only real mechanics are swinging it or jump attacking, or hitting projectiles back at enemies. So it's not super involved or anything, but I'd rather it stay that way, personally, because I don't really enjoy combat in any of these games. Enemies are in the mines, and it just feels like they're distractions to me. But hey, they drop stuff, and you'll need to engage with them if you want to advance through those depths. So, you know, you gotta do it. There's a couple of interesting perks, like the Guardian Shield protecting you from damage once per day, though damage was never really a thing holding me back in the mines. The jump attack is useful for all sorts of things, like upturning the mushroom enemies or clearing grass and crops. Crits and speed boosts are nice, but overall it's just get some minor buffs and carry on. Combat, I think, is just fine. It's not overly punishing, you don't need stamina to attack, and I never felt stressed by it or anything. It's just okay. There may or may not be other hidden skills to look out for too as you progress, but I won't say anything about those. The last thing to do is the museum. Gotta collect them all. You go here to donate crops, artifacts from the archaeology skill, fish and insects, and perhaps some other things too. And in doing so you unlock more rewards and unique items to craft for your farm. For the most part, it's a simple, fun way to get you to keep doing everything in the game, and it promotes variety gameplay. However, insect collection can go to hell. This is easily the worst part of the game for me, and it's not even close. Insects spawn all over the place in Mistria, and they're seasonal. Fish are too, but I never had any trouble getting the fish I needed. They even have specific weather to spawn in, and they even tell you when legendary fish are about. Insects are not telegraphed, and they're small. They're rare. They have seasonal and weather-specific variants. These things drove me mad. I had to spend hours, literally hours, going back and forth between screens to reset the spawns when checking for rare and legendary bugs. These things were insanely rare, like shiny Pokemon levels of rare, well maybe not that bad, and ultimately it just wasn't fun to hunt for them. That's really my only conclusion on the insect collecting. I flat out hated it. I'm sat here shrugging my shoulders right now. If you look online for help, you'll see loads of threads of people having difficulty with the insect collections. If you ask me, I think they should have set spawn days and, just like legendary fish, should have notifications on which day you'll find them. That should make it more fun, I reckon, but right now they're just awful. Insects aside, the rest of the game kept me engaged for nearly 100 hours so far, which is a super good deal, considering it's not even finished. The downside right now is that there's no sort of endgame loop to engage with, and I just have no direction at the moment with a finished, decorated, organised farm, a complete museum collection, maxed out town rank, and tons of crops hoarded in my seasonal chests. I can accumulate more money, or breed more colours of animals for fun, but other than that, I'm pretty much done with the game by now. One small gripe I'm just remembering to mention though is that buying or crafting big numbers of items takes absolutely ages to wait for the +1 button to tick up. I don't know why we can't just type the number we want in a box somewhere. At one point I was waiting literal minutes, just holding the A button on my controller, for a menu to buy 600 plus of an item every day. Oh well, perhaps one to look at for the devs. Overall, I highly recommend Fields of Mistria. I had a ton of fun with it, just chilling out and hitting rocks or mining trees and crops. Yes, I did say mining trees. Or running around like a madman trying to forage as much as I could every single day, gifting the villagers stuff, maxing their hearts out, maxing my tools out, my skills, the museum. I can only see it getting better and better with future updates. And like I said, there's still an update right now, very recently, that I haven't got round to yet. But I'm MagicalMike, and I'm Quids in with this game. Cheers.